Guys, I'm gonna make a little video today. It's kind of an update video on the Sport Wagon, and I've been going to the track some, and I've made a lot of videos about some of this, but this is just kind of a October update, you know, basically getting toward the end of the year. I just got back from Summit Point, West Virginia, the Shenandoah circuit for the Volkswagen Audi Fastivus event, sponsored by Lindsay Volkswagen. APR is a sponsor, New German Performance. I think that's it. Anyway, awesome event. Did it last year, and really enjoyable single day casual track event, car show, hang out. You know, instead of just going to a parking lot and standing around staring at people's cars, you can actually go drive your car. It's really fun. So I like the Shenandoah circuit. It's small and technical. It's got a lot of fun features. It has a carousel, kind of like the Nürburgring. It has an air jump. If you hit it fast enough, you can get a little bit of air. But the other thing Shenandoah has, it's kind of vicious. It's got some big curbs, and if you're aggressive and you're slamming off of those curbs to get some track time or lap times down, it's hard on your car. And we're going to talk a little bit about an issue I had after getting back. I did get my PB of a 144.3 or something like that, which is 4 seconds faster than last year, which is good. And the Garmin says I've got a 141 in me. I'm not really sure where that is, but there's always time, and you can always drive faster. I'm sure a better driver could whip the wagon around in a 141 without too much trouble. But the wagon does great. Again, it's not as gonna be as good as a GTI on the track. It's just not. At least the way mine is set up as a street car. It just really has really soft suspension, and which is fine. There's just some times on that track in particular that I just felt like I had some issues. I actually had a snap oversteer incident where I almost got sideways, which was a little scary, but anyway, so track day was super fun. Ran in the advanced groups. I did, I think, 4 sessions, and good time. So let's just go through some of the basics here of when I got home. You know, I go through my car. So first off, brake pads. So I just swapped out front and rear brake pads because I'm going to VIR at the end of the month for 4 days in a row, and I don't want to have to mess with things at the track. Even though I can, I take the tools with me and spare brake pads. It's better if you don't have to. And what I'm getting at this point out of my chosen compound or pads is, so I have these EBC RPX for my big brake kit, and then I run the EBC Bluestuff NDX for the back, because there's really not any other pads that are worth anything for the rears on these cars with the little small 272s. So I got 6 days out of these and 3 days out of these. Now look, I probably have another day in these fronts. Big brake kits are nice. Like, the thinner the pad gets, the more heat is transferred to the fluid, but your calipers and everything just run cooler on these big brakes. So I probably could get another day out of these if I wanted to push it. But since I'm going, I don't want to go get 3 sessions in on a day and then have to go back to the garage and switch pads. So these are trash now. I wouldn't bother putting these back in even for a single day event. But 6 in the rear, 3 to 4 probably in the front. I think a single set of front pads is going to get me through 4 days of VIR. Which, you know, these are $235 from buybrakes.com, and these are like $99. It's really not that bad. You know, brake pad wear, there's so many factors to it, and you know, if you went online and said, hey, how long do your pads last, you'd get an enormous amount of spread in the data, and it's going to be based on the driver, how they drive, how they brake, the car's weight, the brakes, everything. So, you know, I think on a 400 half pound sport wagon with me in it, that's about what I think it weighs. That's not bad to me. It's a heavy car, it's big, and the pads don't really cost that much. I'm quite sure I can find pads that last longer, but you're gonna pay more for the pads. So and again, the rears, I don't really have much choice. And it's interesting, I know some guys that have GTIs and just have the factory, the 310 millimeter vented rear setup, or the performance pack rear brakes, which is also the same as the Mark 6 Golf R brakes in the back with a mechanical handbrake, and they've like never ever changed their pads after several years. So I think the wagon is heavy, and it just, these little 272s just don't, you know, they don't they don't manage as much. They're going to get hotter because they're smaller, and they're going to chew through pads. That's good though. I mean, I'm using pads. That's good. It's not like my back brakes aren't doing anything. But anyway, that's what the pads look like. They're basically pretty even. There is some taper on the front, but it's not huge, and taper can be quite normal. The pads look good. I continue to, this is what I'm going to just keep running. I love the brake feel. They work great. I never have braking problems. The only other thing I need to do now that I've swapped pads is I'm gonna drop this fluid in sometime in the next couple weeks. I've been using the, whatever a lot of people use, Modal RBF 600. A lot of people use it. It's always worked for me. You'll hear horror stories about, oh my God, it boiled and I almost died. I've never had that experience. It's always fine. I bleed it before every event. Probably really kind of a bleed flush. I don't just pump a couple squirts out. I put a bottle of fluid in it, or two. It's so cheap because it's 20 bucks a bottle, and now that's free for me from FCP. There's really no excuse not to just really get a good flush every time, so that you guarantee you have brakes, because the 600 stuff, it's not a hardcore track fluid. It's kind of I'll call it kind of like more of an entry-level track fluid, but I've never had trouble with it. And also big brake kits, they don't run as hot, and yeah, so maybe that's also part of it. But I'm going to give this a try. A lot of people really like it. It should last longer, and it should maintain a firmer pedal. I will note that the RBF 600 modal stuff, the pedal just changes. I'm not saying it's bad, like, oh my God, I'm getting a soft brake pedal. It just changes a little, even after maybe one use, like one session. And I know quite a few people that have said the same thing. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I want something different. So I tried the Endless. So that's brakes. Let's see. Everything else worked pretty good. Here are my tires. The Nexen and Sport Rs. These are awesome. I think I've got 9 days on them now, and they look good. There's a little bit of goofy wear because I don't have a ton of camber. -2 degrees up front. You're going to chew tires. I'm trying to rotate them more. I wasn't real good at first, and I probably could have gotten a bit more even wear, but I think I've got easily the 4 days at VIR in these, and probably more. These are great. So still really like these tires. I'll buy them again. So tires, no issue. In terms of the engine and all that, again, everything's fine. I will say, though, I had some oil consumption this time, like notably. I was down at least a half a quart, if not more, which is kind of strange. Maybe I didn't start full, but oil consumption can be quite normal when you're beating the crap out of it in a track environment. But I've not really ever noticed a whole lot of oil consumption on this car, so it's just something to note. I am running that Mark 8 PCV, the full retrofit Venturi setup, and I did pop my air intake hose off. I was curious if the intake pipe to the turbo was filled with oil or there was oil residue. It was nothing. It was bone dry. So that oil's definitely getting burned, but it's probably going back down through the intake, a pathway through the PCV. So instead of going in through your intake, it's going down through the intake somehow, down to the intake valves would be my guess, but not enough to ever get smoke. And so who knows? It's just something to keep an eye on. Yeah, I don't really think it's a big deal, but it was notable to me that I was like, whoa, I'm glad I brought some oil to add. Okay, final comment. So again, car was fine, did pretty well on the track, got better, faster times, blah, blah, blah. But, I will say that I did have one thing that will have to be replaced, and I'll swap to a couple pictures here in the video while I talk. So the Super Pro lower control arms. So they use a polyurethane bushing in the front and the rear. And if you know Mark 7s, the rear lower control arm bushing is kind of like a puck. And it looks like a hockey puck, I guess, or a UFO or something. And I've got a video, I'll link it here, where I show how those bushings work. But the polyurethane is not durable in this position. So I'm on my second set I've ruined. These have a chunk missing. And I'm on my second set I've ruined. These have a chunk missing and the ball joint looks like it's pulling out. I was getting noisy when I got on the way home. So I got 6 track days in about a year, 10,000 miles out of these. That's exactly about what I got last time, about 10,000 miles. And I think I had 8 track days before. Shenandoah is rough on the car. I'm usually at VIR. VIR curbing is the kind of rumble strip style, and while you're certainly pushing the car, I just don't feel like I'm slamming the suspension the same as I'm doing at Shenandoah. So I think that the Shenandoah circuit, just driving like I was, those bushings just threw in the towel and shit the bed. So yeah, so Super Pro though is really good. Super Pro will send me new bushings. So they've already sent me one set. They'll send them again. They seem to just have a lifetime warranty. Like, hey, use our stuff. We'll guarantee it. But I'm tired of changing bushings because I'm not doing it myself. It's a pain in the ass to do that on the ground. So I'm paying a shop to do it. So every time I do this, I have to pay a shop. And it's not cheap because you got to drop the subframe a little and all this to get the lower control arms out. So what I've decided is, Super Pro is sending me a set of bushings. I'm going to replace them in the arms I have and use them as like a backup spare set. And again, man, if you want a really great little upgrade to a street car, man, those lower control arms are awesome. They give you camber and caster, and I think those bushings are probably fine on the street. The issue is on the track. So I'm going to try the 034 arm, which is similar. It's aluminum. It has some positive caster, but it uses rubber bushings, like a solid rubber bushing, so hopefully that's more durable. And it adds the ability to adjust the ball joints outward for more negative camber. So I'm hoping I have like -2 right now. I'm hoping I can get maybe like -2.5. Maybe I can even get up to 3. I'm not sure how that works or how adjustable it is, but I want the most camber I can get, which will help on tire wear, which is, you know, and handling. So yeah, the Super Pro arms, I've thrown in the towel on them. Again, I think it's a nice product if you're kind of like a street car that you want a bit more performance for, maybe like those mountain hooning type events, but not for the track. They're just not. I think there's too much articulation in that suspension joint for polyurethane to not tear and bust. So unfortunate there, but yeah, they're going to get me sorted out before the end of the month, and I head to VIR for 4 days. But yeah, hopefully those 034 ones work, and I'll check back in after VIR and make another video probably, but that'll be my year. I think I'll have 8 days on track this year. I don't think I'm going to do as many next year. It's pretty expensive, and I'm probably pushing it doing 2 more days or 4 more days this year. So I think next year I'll cut it back down to something like maybe 3 events, so maybe 6 days or 5 if I do a single day event, you know, 2 2-dayers and a 1, and that probably satisfies my urge to drive fast. So anyway, again, checking out here from the KCE. I'll put some info in the description, and talk soon. Bye. Oops, epilogue to the video. We got another award this year. So at Fastivus, so last year I was one of the top 10 cars, I guess whoever judges them for the car show. And this year I had won the APR's Choice Award, which was given to me. I guess it was for like kind of all around good VW track dude, which is cool. I enjoy these events, try to help people. I'm courteous on the track, and somebody clearly recognized that and gave me an award for it. So pretty stoked to get the APR's Choice Award. So my awards shelf here on my toolbox is getting longer. So anyway, bye.